Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the Relationship Cheat Code, where we give you the game, helping you to stress less and experience your absolute best in your relationship. This right here is my boo thing, my baby's mama, my lovable, impeccable, adorable sweetheart, the love of my life. This is my wife, y'all.
And this right here, this is my dapper, debonair, Pookie Pie, the love of my life, my sweetheart, the one who holds me down and lifts me up all at once. I you say.
Lift you up out the water.
Yes, lift me up out the water. I was going under the water earlier today. I was like, y'all probably, what is she talking about? But sometimes, you just be in spaces where it's just a lot.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot going on for a while now.
Yeah, I was about to say, it seems like every podcast we always talk about it. Specifically you. You talking about it's a lot.
Because I express my stuff.
Yeah.
You just keep it under wraps.
No, I express it as well too. But I do think that we process, we experience it differently, which is okay. It's okay.
So you saying experience differently as in though it's not a lot?
No, it's a lot.
Whatever the thing is at the beginning.
It's a lot, but
what we was talking about earlier today.
Yeah, I don't feel the weight maybe as extreme or as heavy as you do in all situations. So, but it comes and goes because there's different points in time where
it's pros and cons
in it. I may feel it more, and you might be like, "What you tripping for? Stop tripping." And so, but then there's other points in times where you might feel it more. So that's one of the beautiful things about really balancing each other out in a relationship. And so today, y'all, what I want to talk about is this. There's healing on the other side of hurt. Again, there's healing on the other side of hurt. And I wanted to specifically speak about this because we recently had a experience where we were at odds. We were clashing. And there was beef, there was tension. And it was a disconnect. It was a disconnect. It was just some tight moments, and we managed to navigate our way through it. But in the midst of that funkiness, we really had to meander in the meantime. And it wasn't easy. And so I just wanted to talk about just what are some concrete things that you did, that I did during that time period that really led to us getting back to being on center, being grounded, and, just
connecting
again, back again. So,
yeah.
So
well, how long? First of all, how long do you want to like?
I actually spoke about this too.
How long was?
I would say it was about a week, and
that's unusual for us.
Yeah, I pride myself, and I often emphasize that when it comes to disagreements, we're able to resolve that thing within like 72 hours. And so when there's tension, just being able to really mitigate and handle it and knock it out within a 3-day period. It's something that I really take pride in. But this right here...
And normally it don't even take that long.
Yeah, it don't even take that long. And so this right here, even with us implementing... Well, I'm not going to even say even with us implementing, but it took a little bit longer than it needed to take. And
you feel like it was too long?
Yeah, I do feel like it was too long. However, I also felt like it was necessary.
Oh.
And...
the disconnect was necessary.
I wouldn't say the disconnect was necessary, but... the ability for us to do our own personal and private self-reflection without racing to recover and gloss over, I think was helpful. And so it took about a week, y'all. It took about a week. And so we seasoned in this game.
Of marriage?
Yeah, in this game of marriage. And so I'm just lifting this up.
I'm not seasoned. No,
we are seasoned.
I'm experienced. I don't like seasoned. Seasoned make me feel old.
You got a couple of gray hairs. So. I got more than a few.
That's why you seasoned.
Yeah, depending upon whether I got dying or not.
I'm just experienced.
We both got experience. We both seasoned. If you got over 2 decades of marriage, I think you seasoned. And so we got some things that we can share. And this podcast is really about just giving you the game. So the first thing that I want to say is that if you can get it down to 3 days or less, if it even has to get to there, then to me, I consider that to be mastery. And I say that because you do want to be able to have time to at least feel what you're feeling, process your feelings, get it out, allow the stank to be present in the air for a moment before you get the poopery out and spray.
Ew.
And so people got to feel their feelings. So 3 days, I think, at the maximum, is when you're at mastery. Now, this lingered to 5 days. I would still consider us
What'd
to
you
be
say? I mean,
masters.
how you know you was really was it 5 or was it
was
long? It
5.
felt longer than that to me.
Yeah, it felt long because you was wanting to connect in with me. You was wanting to be bundled up with me again. So
I know, I always do.
yeah, and so it
Was you
felt
really
longer.
counting? Or do you know it was 5
No, I
days?
was
So it might have
counting.
been
I
a
was
little
counting because again, it's
longer.
atypical.
Oh,
It's not typical that we would be, disconnected for that extended period of time, and so I was missing you too.
You were missing me, boo.
Yeah, I was missing you, and I was mad,
Yeah.
and so
Well, let's do this. People don't know like what happened. Like what was the issue? And y'all know about this. I don't know if I half know what the hell the damn issues where I can pull some things.
I know where.
Do
it
you
started.
remember?
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's just I don't know. But go ahead. You know where it started.
Yeah, it started with your attempt to make love to him.
We talked about this on the last one.
No, not the last one. It was the one before the last one.
What were we talking on the last episode?
Nah, it was a question we answered. So you had attempted to,
okay. I
make
can't keep
love
up.
with me, and
It started with that. I thought it was before that. It was before that.
nah, I started with that. And you got in your feelings. Your feelings were hurt. You felt rejected, and you was in your feelings, and
No, it did start before that.
it did.
It did start before that because before that, so the thing he's talking about, we did talk about that in another episode. Maybe you can link that episode below so they know what we're talking about. Where I said, I felt like my husband rejected me. I haven't been able to come and look at all the comments, but the word on the street is y'all's coming for me. It's all love. I'm able to receive all of it. But no, before that, there was some disconnect going on because there were like at least 2 times where you, at least 2, maybe 3, but I know for sure 2 times where you were trying to see what was up and get with me in the bed.
You was rejecting me.
I was not rejecting.
Yeah, you was giving me the stiff arm.
No.
Cold shoulder.
No. So I don't remember all the details now, but what I do know is that whatever it was, I remember us like having conversation and me being like, damn, like if I don't walk a perfect line, like if I don't do this just like this, essentially what some people were saying to me about me getting in my feelings, right? Then you're just like, okay, never mind, I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? Like there were a couple times where I was like, come on. And you were like, no. Right. And that happened twice. Yeah. So to me, that was the bit. I don't remember how much long, like if it was a few days before or a couple days before or whatever, but that started it.
Yeah, it might have been a couple of days before.
So
it was all revolving around sex and intimacy.
But so the people who so here's the thing, folks who I don't know if we included that in, but that whole situation about me pushing up on you, right, and then feeling rejected, right? Before that, there was this stuff going on already where you were pursuing me.
Yeah.
I felt as though I was responding to you, but you felt like, because I don't remember exactly what happened, but I just remember that like it didn't go down the way you wanted, and you were just like, no. I was like, come on, and you were like, no. I remember that. So, and I know that happened like a couple times. Yeah. And so we were just having a lot of like misalignment and not being able to like meet each other at our points of need. You know what I mean? We were just, there was disconnect. So it happened, it started with that. And then me feeling rejected. And then from there, that was like 3 times where there was something happening, right?
Yeah.
And I think then we just kind of like went away in our corners for a little bit, like, all right, I'm tired.
Yeah, tired, frustrated, irritated, mad, feeling all of the feelings because I felt justified in making the request and having it a particular way, but then also expressing that if I'm tired at 3 a.m. in the morning and I don't want all of that, but I just want this, that I got a right to make the request. And then, at the same time too, making room to understand you in terms of how heavy of a lift it may be for you to even initiate and not being so critical and judgmental of you during that process. And so yeah, it was a back and forth. And so I really felt like during that time period that I wanted you to apologize. I wanted you to really hear me and see me and understand me. And I'm sure you wanted the same thing from me, for me to understand you. And we didn't immediately arrive at that place. I think that we both were pretty much operating from our corners, looking at the other person, but then also wanting the other person to come and get the other person out of the corner. And you even referenced that. You said you want me to leave about the house, come down to the car, come get you, and then come bring you back in the house. And then you was like, yeah, you referenced that in one of the podcast episodes. And in my mind, what I was thinking was like, what's wrong with that? And so and again, I'm only saying that because historically, that's what the man does. And I do think that
what you all do, what is that to be?
Leave about the house, come to the car.
This is an analogy, y'all, in case y'all not following. What are they talking about?
Not literally speaking, and then come and bring you back in the house. I mean, we carry you back in the house. And so when it comes to initiating the intimacy piece, we're taking the lead, and we're typically doing that. And so my perspective at that time was, you initiate, it don't go your way. I mean, I take it on the chin. You can take it on the chin. We just keep it moving. And so I really did not, at that particular point in time, did not think that it had to be as big of a deal as it was. But it was, because your feelings were hurt.
But I do think it's important that to note, like, just in terms of how we as people like process things that you hadn't even taken into account the 2 times prior. So for you thinking it's just about, I'm just responding to that one thing.
Yeah.
But it's, to me, it's like, okay, this is the 3rd time where there's been a disconnect, and Aize is saying no in some way. So before, in the other times, you're doing something, and then I'm responding, or but not responding, or what, I don't remember exactly, but in the exact way that you want it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, come on, and you're like, no, right? And then you did that a couple times, and then I put myself out there, and then you're like, nah. So to me, that's like 3 no's. That's not just a one-time situation. But I don't even know if you even like paid attention to the other 2 things.
Yeah, no, I didn't. And so, just hearing that, I think was helpful. So the reason why this episode I do think will be very helpful for people is because you will experience some hurt in your relationship. And so my wife and I, we felt hurt during that time period. I think that both of us at different junctures did not feel like we were being heard or understood. And I just want to emphasize that healing is on the other side of hurt. And so in order for you to grow, in order for you to experience a shift and experience a change, then there has to be some clarity about your current condition and where you are. And so I do think that over the course of that 5-day period, we had to really self-assess, look at ourselves, and then also look at our relationship and assess, like, what's going on here? Like, what's happening? And one of the things that I repeatedly said, and y'all may be able to relate to this, but I do think that stress was a significant factor contributing to the prolonged disconnect. And so,
like, super significant.
Yeah. So some of the ways in which I had wanted my wife to show up for me, she ain't thinking about that. Like, she got 1,001 things on her brain, and a lot of things that we're managing and navigating as we attempt to get our daughter settled in school. It's a lot. It's overwhelming, and so intimacy.
And it ain't just that. You said that like that's that one thing.
Yeah,
no.
Intimacy,
that's just one of many things.
Specifically the way that I want it. I might have felt like another thing on the to-do list, and that you just wasn't really trying to do, or even if you were.
But I was. But you was like, nah, you're not for real.
yeah. So I had my specific ways in which I wanted to experience my stress relief, and so it's just like that stress piece, y'all, can definitely bring heightened sensitivity, hypersensitivity in the relationship, and no matter what maybe small deviation that somebody takes outside of what they may typically do, it becomes an alarm, or it becomes so worrisome and so troublesome that it can just like create a significant fracture, at least for a moment in the relationship. And so that's what we experienced. But we did have to take a step back and and really make an assessment of like, where am I, and where are we right now, and where are we trying to go? Like, so I think that we do that very well in terms of just keeping our eyes on the prize, which helps us to navigate uncomfortable situations, and just really rocky terrain. Just knowing that there's something on the other side of this because we've experienced it,
Right.
and we've experienced it for a long, long, long time, and we experience it regularly, and so we know that trouble won't last always.
Okay, how you say?
You know,
Trouble won't last always.
yeah, we just going up the rough side of the mountain,
Yeah. So
leaning on the Lord.
lean on them. Yes, indeed. But I think the piece that, sometimes when there's a disconnect, actually a lot of times when there's a disconnect between us or just if anybody who's listening, right? When you think about that, like I said, we just talked about like, how did we get here? What led us to it? Blah, blah, blah. And he didn't even remember a couple things. And I'm focusing on some parts. He's focusing on other things, right? We all are having our own experiences. After a while, it can get really like convoluted about, I know what was hurtful and I know what was said or not said or whatever, but it was just a whole week of disconnect and you can't really even put your finger on one particular thing. So how do you resolve that? And I think a lot of times people are trying to come back to have the conversation and kind of work through all of it. And this may seem really counterintuitive, especially to the kind of things that we normally say to people, because we normally say, yeah, you're going to keep just letting stuff just fizzle and just die down, and then y'all keep going on. It's going to come back up again. Y'all are just professional avoiders. That's not going to work. That's not helpful. But sometimes, when you have moments like this where it's, there's a lot of stress happening, you all just kind of been on each other's wrong side and been, misaligned and not connecting. Sometimes you just need to have sex.
You're moving too fast, though.
Oh, I'm not. It was just on time. It was right on time.
You're moving too fast.
I'm not moving too fast. This is what I want to say. You can take us back when you get the mic again. But this is what I want to say. The lovemaking that I experienced with you is like no other. I mean, obviously, it's like no other. You're the only one I do the lovemaking with. But it is, it always brings me back into myself. If I'm disconnected from you, I'm also disconnected from myself in some way. To be disconnected from you is to be disconnected from my feelings sometimes too, and just kind of, pushing through, got energy. And for us, a lot of times, we're not walking around with stanky energy. We're just doing life. We're not walking around angry and looking at each other mean. We're just still having conversation about certain things, but there's a disconnect. There's distance. That's a better word. There's like emotional distance. And I'm not sure how that, you came up behind me, and pressed your body up on me. And that was all she wrote. So, like nod your head like that. So when I say that, I mean that, I feel very blessed because, and I do know, on a serious note that everyone is not able to say this. Our sexual chemistry has always been 1,000% on point. Like we have not had a struggle in that area at all. Yeah. So for anybody watching, anytime I'm coaching or counseling someone and they say their sex life, oh, that's good. That's we it's totally fine. I love it. I'm like, bruh, sis, you need to understand that's an asset. Mm-hmm. That is an asset. That is something that will sustain you, that will stand in the gap for y'all, that will help to bridge the distance between the two of you, that will help to lower your stress, that will help to give you inspiration. And it'll do all kinds of things that you would not otherwise have access to if you didn't have that. So when you have good sexual connection, it really it changed everything. It changed everything. So I feel like for us, what I was saying was that it wasn't really about us in terms of working through it. I mean, we're talking more about it now, and I think we did talk about it, but I feel like we both just know there's some things where I felt the way I felt, and you felt the way you felt. I feel how I feel, and you feel how you feel.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna see it no other way, and he ain't gonna see it no other way. Y'all know what I'm talking about? There's no like, sometimes I think people are trying to work through and push through conversations to get your partner to be on your side, and they're not going to be on your side because they are a different person and they experience it differently. Doesn't mean they're not for you. Doesn't mean they don't love you. They're just not going to see it the way you see it. And I think this is one of those situations where I, sat in my space. He sat in his space. Stress had a whole seat to the table too. Stress was sitting there, impacting us. And so we just experienced things the way we did. So I don't know that it would have been helpful to continue to keep trying to like talk it all through. But really the goal was really to try to reach understanding, about how the other person felt. Not agreement, but understanding and emotionally connect in. And that emotional connecting in, it just allowed things to fall away. I mean, they just fell away. Like the next day, it was like a brand new day. I was like, "Good morning, sweetie poo pie." It was, and look, you were so cute. I can't remember, what was it? I think I was in. I was in our son's room, and you just popped in. And I had already left out our room the next morning, and he came in, and I said, "Good morning, baby." He was like, "Good morning." I was like, "Good morning." I was smiling. He smiled. He looked all sheepish, and then he like dipped out the room, and the kids was looking like, "What's wrong with them?" It was so cute. You were so cute. But like just making that connection again, it's like. That's what you have to be able to come back to. You have to be able to come back to that. We always say that connection is more important than anything. It's more important than anything. If you don't have that, then there's no amount of agreement or explanation or working things out in the world that will make things better, because ultimately we just want to be connected to one another. We may not want to always admit it. We want to be connected. We want to feel understood, valued, all of that.
Hey, what's up, y'all? So we know you're enjoying the episode, but check this out, y'all. We're not just any old random couple that's coming on YouTube every week just giving relationship suggestions and stuff like that. We're way more than that, y'all. We're trained therapists and relationship coaches. This right here is my beautiful, incredible, sensational wife, Iana.
And this right here is my dapper, debonair husband, Ayize. So y'all, we just want you to know that there is more. We don't want you to just be a spectator. We want you to get in here with us and join our community. We have all kind of folks who are doing their personal work, their relationship work. We have sister circles and men's lounges and trainings, and we address all kinds of things from infidelity to disconnection to communication issues and sex and intimacy issues. Look, the solution is at blandcore.com. Join us. So
yeah, it makes me think about the fern, FERN, and how it embodies the essence of bending but not breaking. And so when it comes to your relationship, and what we experienced was some bending, some elasticity and some flexibility in terms of being moved in different directions based off of what we feel. And at times feeling uncomfortable based off of that, and at times not wanting to be in a certain place emotionally or mentally. And so we're being pushed and pulled and stretched, and we're experiencing stress. And so we're bending, but as a couple, we're not breaking. It reminds me also of a rubber band. You can stretch the rubber band, but it doesn't pop. And so because we maintain our connection, we may get stretched and we may be tight with each other at different points in time, but it's not going to pop. It's not going to pop. And so I'm committed to that. And that's a part of me really doing the work and understanding what my why is. And so I recognize the strength of us remaining intact, being together, and me always wanting to come back to the middle. And the middle is us, and the middle is inside of you. And so I'm trying to always be in a space where we're experiencing that connection, and we're building not only what we have, but we're building with our family too. And so because I keep that at the forefront, again, no matter how stressed or stretched we may be, like it's an anchor for me, and it guides me. And so yeah, so again, the making love piece was bomb and phenomenal, and that right there definitely was a transformative experience, and was like the cherry on top. But I do think that it began before then, for me personally. And I said to somebody earlier this week or last week that proximity plays an important part in the recovery process. And so a lot of times people think that you just mentioned it, that they want to solve a problem through talking about it. And so your feelings are hurt and you want to talk about it. Somebody said something to you sideways, you want to talk about it. Somebody didn't do something, you want to talk about it. But what if there's a space in your relationship or even inside of the person where words can't really capture the essence of what it is that they're experiencing? What if utterances are the embodiment of what they're feeling? And so you want to logically process through. But even that in and of itself, depending upon the situation, may pose a barrier to you all getting back to healing. So it just may not be the right time for that type of conversation.
Yeah.
But it may be the right time, and usually it is the right time to maintain some sense of connection. So for us, making sure that we had our regular rituals and routines that we would engage in, watching something at the end of the evening.
Right.
Even though we got this tightness and tension between us,
That stuff doesn't stop.
yeah, it doesn't stop. Or even me asking her to go for a walk with me, and she rejected me because it's wet outside on the ground. I'm still going to ask
I'm not
the question.
rejecting you.
I'm still going, it ain't even raining no more, y'all. It ain't raining.
I just don't want to be walking around and it's wet
on the ground.
outside.
It's not like she walking around barefoot. She got shoes on and she don't want to walk outside. And so even that though, just extending myself, making a bid for connection, or my wife asking if I want to go to the movies, or saying, can we get some alone time? And I do think that by us engaging in those constant bids for connection, even though we weren't talking about it directly,
Yeah.
it reiterated that I still value you and I love you and I still want to be with you. And so eventually we did have a conversation. We did have a conversation, and my wife and I, we went out and sat at the bar and we talked, and I shared some things that was on my
that's
heart.
right. The bar.
Yeah, I shared some things that was on my heart, and
Yeah.
and then she shared some things, and so some of it was uncomfortable for her to hear, and some of it took a lot of courage on my part. Some of it was uncomfortable for me to hear and took courage on her part, but we eventually had the conversation. But in order for us to get to the point of having the conversation, we just kind of eased our way into each other's presence and was just there. Like, I'm not going away. I'm here. And we're turning towards each other. And then we eventually talk. And then we had made that bomb ass love. Like, it's.
Was that the same night we went out to the bar? Was that another night?
It might have been another night.
Yeah.
It might have been. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that was an important piece.
Yeah. So as much as you are an amplifier, you even valued. I mean, you lifted up the connection, the sex and intimacy as being, primary, or just being supreme, the supreme experience.
That's what it helped me to feel you again, to push through.
Yeah.
But as much as you're a condenser and don't talk or use as many words, you really, that the going out and talking,
I had to,
was important for you.
Yeah, I had to.
Wow.
I didn't like the disconnect. I didn't like because there was a couple of questions that you would ask me and some conversations that needed to be had, and so I felt like I was leaving you hanging. but I was also still feeling hurt, and so I knew I had to, talk through it, and so I kind of, all right, let me get a drink. Let's get a drink. Another point, y'all. Neutral location.
Yeah.
Get outside the house. Go to a neutral location where you're not. And I hate to say it like this, but you're not triggered by your environment. You're not on his turf or her turf. You're at a neutral location in a public setting. It just changes energy, and changes expectation, changes, and also changes outcome too. So I even think that us, shifting the environment and
Yeah.
doing something different, to me, it just opened up my senses, and it led me to want to experience you in a different way, and then it also kind of emboldened me to talk about it. Like it's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I have to say, I have to shout you out because I feel like we talked about the fact that there's been a lot of stress. But just in general, even without the additional stress, I know y'all be like, damn, these Negroes is always stressed. Yes. I'm breaking my attachment and my disagreement. I mean, my agreement with stress and struggle, though. I'm breaking that. Doing something different. But anyway, I know, like, in terms of like myself, that I could get very locked in on what the problems are, the issues are. Y'all don't even know the half of it. Okay, we ain't really gone into all of that because that's our business. But I get, kind of uber consumed with whatever is happening, and I'm really trying to manage my anxiety, and really focusing on my faith, and you said, I we experience things differently. So sometimes, your relative ease and kind of like chill, like all is well, even though I agree, like I'm supposed to be. I mean, I'm trying to use this mantra of, with myself, all is well, to remember my faith that, we're gonna work through all the things. But sometimes, just based on my personality, based on your personality, how we flow, it's it feels like you're not grounded here with me, with whatever is happening. So it doesn't mean that it's not. I mean, we've had this conversation. It doesn't mean that that's the case, but it feels that way to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, anyway, I'm saying all that to say that when we're in that space, or just even recently, I just have to shout you out because, I feel like you just anchor us. You anchor, I know we both provide anchoring in our own ways, but you really anchor me, in terms of being able to kind of reel me back in. I feel like, I can just be focused on whatever the issue is, and I'm just, I don't know, just consumed. That's the best way I can say it. I already said that, but and you like reel me back in. I don't know if it's my anxiety. I don't know if it's my ADD or the fact that I'm a Leo and a fire sign. Like I'm just, and you will just, like a cool breeze, your energy, your willingness to make room for me, your willingness, even the other night when we went out, right, to be transparent and to show me yourself and to tell me about what's a problem,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but also to hold space for me. It's a great blessing in my life. And I just want to say that I see it and I see you. Um, and I may not always be aware at the time, but you've always been there for me. You've always been my calm. And I can imagine, I think it's important sometimes for us to think about what would it be like to be, um, what would it be like? What would it feel like for you to be married to yourself? You to be married to yourself. You know, I don't think we think about that often. The things that you know about yourself, the things that perhaps your partner kind of looks at you sideways about over and over again, because that's kind of how you do and how you be. Some things are marriage specific, some things are just personality things, whatever. But like, what would it be like? And when I think about myself and I think about my, very, I don't know how to call it, but, you know, very much like when I'm doing a thing, I'm doing that thing. And when I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it. and I'm focused and I'm, maybe carrying an energy of stress and just, maybe even criticism and control and like, this is what we need to do and whatever. And, you tend to be like more kind of laid back and thoughtful. And I'm like on go. And that works for us. Like our opposite ways of being works for us. But I just can imagine like dealing with that and me and how I be all the time. While it may have its benefits in some ways, in other ways, it's like, all right, let me get her ass back down here, like on the ground. Like let me get her grounded again. And maybe you don't think about it that way. You probably don't. But I know that that's how I experience you in my life. Just the never-ending calm, the never-ending presence, my never-ending safe space. And I appreciate that more than you can ever know. And I just want you to know that I see it. Even in the midst of some of my questions, some of my things that I be bringing to you and maybe challenging you with or whatever, like, I wouldn't trade that for anything. So, thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, babe. Touched my heart.
You're welcome.
Wow, this has been another episode of the Relationship Cheat Code.
Yeah.
Please like, please subscribe, and please share. And if you're going through any challenging times in your life and in your relationship, just know that healing is on the other side of hurt. But you got to take those necessary steps to get to that side. All right, fam, y'all be easy, and we'll check you out next time. Peace.
Peace.